Yo, what is good everybody? It's your boy Tej, and in this video I'm gonna be showing y'all how to make a beat for Kendrick Lamar, specifically for his recent project, Mr. Morale and the Big Steppers. And the style of beat that I went for was something similar to N95 or Savior, so something maybe more Baby Keem-esque and one of those more unique melodic type of beats. I made the beat from scratch, so I'm gonna be showing y'all my whole process of making the loop and adding drums to it. If you're new to the channel and you enjoyed these types of videos, be sure to hit subscribe. Also follow me on Instagram if you want the latest updates on videos or anything else I'm working on. As always, I'll have the finished beat played at the end of the video, so be sure to stick around for that. And with all that out of the way, let's just hop right into the beat. Alright, so before I hop into breaking down the sample, I'm going to show you a quick preview of it. So the tempo that I'm working with is 143 beats per minute. So for my first melody sound, I opened up Serum and I made my main melody synth. And as you heard earlier, this is kind of like a Mike Dean synth pad-esque sort of sound. So the key for the sample is F minor, and I first started by laying out my root notes. I believe these are the root notes that I started with, are the ones that are highlighted. Just using the notes within the F minor scale and just kind of playing around with the different combinations so that it would lead in pretty well into this chord right here. For the most part, I wasn't really considering too much music theory when I did this. The only thing that I was really using that I guess you could call theory or theoretical are the notes that are in the F minor scale, but other than that, I wasn't thinking about specific chords or voicings or anything of that sort. So I routed that to a mixer track and I threw a couple EQs on it, the first being this one, and overall I was just trying to create space for the other elements of my loop and also the drums later down the road. And again, I was kind of doing the same thing with this, mostly just reducing any frequencies that might be very prevalent in other sounds throughout the beat. Next, I opened up Analog Lab and I got this Party Time pad preset from Holy's Abelia Bank. All I really did was just copy the chords from the previous pattern and simplify them, and also take out the lead-in chords that we had in this area right here. And this pad was more of a bassist than the previous synth. I think this sound ends up playing throughout most, if not all, of the beat, and by itself it sounds like this. And putting the two together, next, I opened up Keyscape and I got this cinematic grand piano preset. And with this, I was just putting in a few piano accents up here. I guess you could just call them filler chords or something of that sort. But it was mainly just to be like an accent counter melody to what we already had. And for effects on the piano, I just put this low cut to cut out some of the key noises. For my next melody sound, I opened up Analog Lab again and went back to the same Abelia Bank, and I got this Dreams Keys preset. And I believe I just copy and pasted the MIDI from the original synth pattern into here. I don't think I ended up using this too often throughout the beat. This is just a switch up from the elements that we already have. And for my last melody sound, I went back into Serum and I made this bass preset. I believe it's pretty similar to the original synth preset. I just changed this wave right here. So here's the bass pattern, and I tried to make it a little bit different from just using the bass notes from the chords. So once I did that, I rendered out each of the patterns as audio clips and then arranged the loop and rendered out the final version of it. And then I imported the loop into a new project file, and I took all the rendered out stems that I had at the end of the loop and just arranged the melodies to my liking. And then I pitched the sample down by 100 cents or a half step. So the finished track is in the key of E minor. As for the drum sounds, we already did a lot with the melodics, so overall I tried to keep the drums somewhat simple. So all the drum sounds that I used are from my introspection drum kit. It's free. I'll leave a link to it in the description. Be sure to go check it out and cop it. So starting off, I got a pretty typical slap clap, and then I just pitched it down by 1/2 step. I just put in a standard trap clap pattern where the clap just hits on the 3rd beat of every measure. Next, I put in my hi-hat, which is definitely the most intricate drum pattern I have out of all of these. I think this is a MIDI pattern that I made for another beat, and then I just imported it into this one and adjusted it accordingly. The reason why not everything's a 2-step is because I wanted there to be space for everything else on the track. And also, if you've seen a few of my videos before, you know that I like to change up the velocities because it adds a little bit of extra bounce to the hi-hats. Next, I put in this open hat, and it primarily just hits on every other clap, and then one beat after that on the 4th and 8th measures. Next, I put in my kick, and this eventually layers with my 808. It just makes certain notes hit harder than some of the others. And then next, I added my snare pattern. This one's pretty straightforward. All it is just having the snares hit in the typical spots. And then these 2 rolls are just using the 1/2 step snapping. And throughout arranging the beat, I just used the slice tool and just cut these out of the patterns accordingly. And then lastly, I put in my 808. And this is kind of a unique sounding 808. I couldn't really liken it to one specific one. If I had to pick one, it'd probably be closer to like maybe a Zay or a Wheezy 808. I felt like this just really suited the overall vibe of the track, so I chose a more unique sounding 808. And the placement of the 808 notes somewhat resembles the root notes of the chords that I showed y'all in the MIDI. So that's going to do it for me. Hope you all enjoyed the video. Hope you found it helpful. If you enjoyed the video, be sure to leave a like. And if you want to see more content like this, be sure to hit subscribe. Let me know what other types of beats you'd like to see me make in the comments below. And any feedback is welcome. That's going to do it for me. Hope you have a great rest of your day. Peace.
Why don't you run with this tag?